we're all gonna die. The coronavirus, of course. Be very scared, I'm told, by some people who are very often wrong about everything. Or I should say, I'm told to be very scared by people who get paid by scaring me and people. Because the more outrage, the more fear, the more clicks, and the more money they get. Now listen, I'll start this off with a disclaimer that my thoughts here could be very, very wrong. Like, you could actually die from the coronavirus. I suppose there's a chance of that happening. But that's sort of the humility I'm talking about. Because what you hear from the fearmongers, like, they could also be very, very wrong. So here's my premise now. A couple weeks ago, we talked with John Tierney on the show. He's the science writer for the New York Times. Super smart guy. I don't know if he's a conservative or not necessarily, but super thoughtful. And more importantly here, doesn't get whipped up into a hysterical frenzy with the latest crisis of the day. So he has a new book called The Power of Bad, How the Negativity Effect Rules Us and How We Can Rule It. And he gave us, a couple weeks ago, 3 guidelines when it comes to, something like the coronavirus. The first, the world always seems to be in crisis. Second, it's never as bad as it sounds. And third, the solution could easily make things worse. All right, so we'll run through them. First, the world always seems to be in crisis. I feel like there's always some pandemic that's about to kill us every year or so, right? Do you remember the swine flu, the avian flu, Ebola, Zika, SARS, and now we got this thing. It's always something, yet we're all still here. Charlie Martin wrote a good piece the other day, and he started off saying, I'd like to start this column by asking us all to observe a moment of silence to remember the millions of Americans who died in the great Ebola pandemic of 2014. There was no Ebola pandemic of 2014. But you were also told then to be very, very scared about it. By the way, I should note that they think that this thing, the coronavirus, came from eating bats. So you shouldn't eat bats. You shouldn't do that. You'll probably, if you're in China, you shouldn't, but even here, because you'll probably get rabies. And rabies is even worse than the coronavirus. So don't eat bats, because why would you ever eat a bat? So picture, they think this came from this seafood market in China. And on the menu of this giant Chinese seafood market, and if you've ever been to a Chinese seafood market, it's one of the most horrific places you could possibly imagine ever. Because all the animals are alive. Everything's alive. And you're like, oh, I'll have a turtle or something. And they bring out a turtle alive. And they kill it right in front of you. So on the menu for this seafood market, they had koala bear. Koala bear. Didn't we just send money to Australia to save the koala bears? And now you're telling me people in China are eating them? Well, I didn't get money to save them. But people gave money to save, and that doesn't. So be careful at Chinese seafood markets. You never know what you're going to get. Now, point is, there's always some pandemic that's going to kill us, right? So this is Dr. Eric Feigl-Ding. He's a public health scientist, epidemiologist, health economist, 15 years at Harvard, and Harvard and Johns Hopkins alum. And he wrote this on Twitter, very thoughtful, measured analysis. He wrote, "Holy Mother of God, the new coronavirus is a 3.8. This is thermonuclear pandemic level bad." Good, I'm glad we have very thoughtful, sensible people as epidemiologists at Harvard that have no problem saying, "Holy Mother." That's what you want out of a doctor, right? You're going to go see a doctor, you got some ailment, and the doctor comes in, like, "Hey, doc, how is it?" "Well, Holy Mother of God, this is bad. Wow, this is DEFCON 1 for you right now, buddy." So we can break down what that means, 3.8. It's pretty boring, but the short of it is, 3.8 is the number of people that they think will be infected in the future from each current case of it. So One person gets coronavirus, they think 3.8 people will then get it from that one person. You want the number less than 1, right? Meaning that it's going to die out on its own. So one person has it, and you think like 0.6 people will get it, right? So it'll decrease over time. That's what that is. Now you're thinking, geez, Slater, that sounds pretty bad. Maybe you shouldn't make fun of this guy. Maybe you should listen to him. He went to Harvard. You didn't. He's an epidemiologist. You're just some stupid talk show host. Well, here's that tweet that we just showed. He sent that out Friday at 8:01 p.m. Okay? Wrote that out, holy mother of God, went to bed. Maybe he didn't go to bed because he was panicking so much, freaking out, running through the streets. I don't know what he was doing all night. But by Saturday morning at 10:07 a.m., he wrote, update, transmission of corona estimate now at 2.6, lower than the original 3.8. But 2.6 is still extremely bad. Give it another few days, and well, here we are, still alive.